Hello, my name is Richard van Oost and welcome to another Blender cookie tutorial where I will show you how to simulate the destruction of this teacup. In my previous tutorial we looked at how to actually destroy this cup with the cell fracture add-on, and right now we will be simulating this because I got a lot of questions on how to do this. So I will just start with the cup we ended with in the part 1, and I also added a bullet quickly. It's very low poly but perfect for simulation, and after the simulation is done we can always apply a subsurface modifier which makes it more smooth. But for now I'm going to use this low poly model, using this to destroy the cup. So I'm gonna shoot it through the cup, and I actually want to shoot it through these two high density areas I made in the previous video. So to control this a bit better, I want to parent this bullet to an empty. So add an empty, and I want to add it not as plain axis but as a single arrow, which represents the direction of the bullet. So select the bullet and then the empty, press Ctrl P, and now we have a parent relation. So now I have to animate only the Z location of the bullet, so I can lock all the other transformations. So I want to start with a keyframe on frame 1. So right click and insert a single keyframe, so it only animates the Z value. Then go to frame 50 and move it up to 10 and insert another single keyframe. By default Blender makes an animation very smooth, which is not a bad thing, but in this case I want to make it linear. So let's go to the animation window layout, and as you can see it's a smooth curve, but in this case I want to make it linear. And then we have a constant velocity, and now I want to make it extrapolate after the last keyframe and before the first keyframe. So to do that we can go into the channel, extrapolation mode, and linear extrapolation, which just creates a single line. And now I want to move this 20 frames, so it starts a little bit later. So GX 20. Okay, and now we can go back to the default layout, activate layer 2, and now we can position this empty to the first high density area. So we can just simply select a shard, Shift S, cursor to selected, select the empty, Shift S again, selection to cursor, and then place it in the center of this little circle. Okay, I think that's about right. Let's rotate it around the y-axis 90 degrees. And by moving this empty, the bullet will move with it and it will be in the right proportion. Let's scale it down a little bit. Okay, and now we can use this dependency line to refine this rotation. So press R twice to go into trackball rotation and move it something around here. We now have a nice bullet animation. Let's go into simulating. So for simulating I want to go into Blender Game Engine, and here we have some more settings. Then by going to the Blender Game Engine we have some more physics settings to play with. And right now record animation is activated, I want to deactivate this. And we can simply press P to simulate our scene. And then we get this. And it goes very slowly because I have 5 substeps. If I lower this, it's less accurate, but it plays a little bit faster. So press P again. Okay. To stop your simulation, you have to press Escape. But now we can see the bullet is not moving. So to make the bullet move, I want to go to the game logic layout. And over here, I can select my bullet. And then we have to add some logic bricks. Because by default, the animation is ignored in the game engine. So let's add an always sensor, which basically always gives a signal. And then in the actuator, I can add an action. So this bullet has to play its bullet action. Because I called it bullet, the animation is called bullet action. And then we have to set the start frame, set it to 1. And the end frame is 100 is fine. That will just play through until it reaches 100. So to view this, you can add a timeline. So it will stop over here. Okay, let's go back to frame 1 and press P. Oh, wait. I forgot to link those two logic bricks. So now it doesn't get any signal to activate this action. So let's quickly link those. And it will automatically create an AND controller, which is fine. It's just to link those through. It's basically, if this is 1 and 1, it will give 1. So it's like a Boolean operator. So now if we press P, we should see some bullet motion. And there we go. And it stops over there, which is frame 100. Okay. Let me collapse this window. Next thing we want to do, I actually want to make an ultra slow motion simulation. So what we want to do is make those shards fall a little bit slower. And to do that, you can lower the gravity. So let's make it really small, 0.5. And this will make the simulation look a lot more like slow motion. So let's watch it by pressing P. Okay. It looks a lot more like slow motion. Let's even lower this, 0.3 or something. And press P. Okay, now it really starts to look like slow motion. Let's actually record this simulation now, because right now we only have a bullet animation. If you want to bake the motion of those shards, you should go to Game, Record Animation. And it's very important you go back to frame 1, or the start frame, before you press P right now, because the baking starts at the current frame you are at when you press P. So right now I'm on frame 1, and now I can press P. Okay, let's test this. And it looks like nothing happens, but suddenly, with a great delay, the shards are being hit by something, some ghost bullet. So the reason for this is right now the frames per second of the simulation is 60, and the animation frame rate is 24. So that doesn't line up. So that's the reason why this is out of sync. So to fix this, I'm going to simply set this to 24. And it's very important you go back to frame 1 before you press P. I can show you what happens if you don't. If I now press P, the cup will start in this state, and it looks really weird. So you want to always go back to frame 1 before pressing P. And I'm going to quickly set up a better collision detection for this bullet. So let's go into the physics panel, make this an actor, and create a collision bound, a convex hole. This works best for most objects, and it's pretty fast. If you go more complicated, you want to have a triangle mesh, which can then you can have objects with holes in it, but that's very slow, so I want to use convex hole. So back to frame 1, press P, and now it collides with every shard. And if we now scrub through the timeline, it lines up. At least it looks like. So if we zoom in on the bullets, we can take a closer look, and the weird thing is this is offset by 1 frame. Right now it intersects with the shards, but they didn't move. They don't move yet. So to fix this, you can start at 0. So set the start frame to 0 and zoom out. Go back to the first frame and press P. And this will fix that little offset we had. Right now the bullet really syncs with the motion of the shards. If we start simulating, the shards already start falling down, even if the bullet didn't reach the cup yet. So because the gravity is so low, you can barely notice this, but it is something we want to fix with a slightly advanced use of the game engine. To do this, I'm gonna create an object which moves along with the bullet and makes those shards active. In the logic bricks, you can set the shards to active or inactive. And if they are not active, they don't react to any force of a bullet or to the gravity, so they stay exactly frozen in their original position. So let's first look at how to suspend the dynamics for a shard. So select a shard, add a delay sensor. And with the delay you have a little bit more control than with an always sensor, because with a delay you can set the duration of the positive true signal. So in this case I want to only have 1 frame of a true signal, and then the rest is fine. It's just enough to suspend the dynamics in the beginning of the simulation. And then I want to add an actuator which edits the object, and I want to edit the dynamics, and I want to suspend the dynamics. And let's link those two again. And now I want to add the same set of logic bricks to every shard I have. And to do this quickly, I can select all the shards because they are in one group. I set this group up in part 1 of the tutorial. Having them all selected and press Ctrl G will add them to a new group. And then you can press Shift G to select every object from the same group. So now I want to have them all selected. and have the first shard as the active object, go to Object, Game, Copy Logic Bricks. And now, if you select any arbitrary shard, they all have the same set of logic bricks. Okay, so let's take a look at what happens if I press P right now. So go back to frame 0, press P. And they don't respond to anything. Okay, this is really nice. Now I want to restore the dynamics based on an object moving across. And I will just add a simple cube for this. Go into wireframe, and I want to scale it up so that it is bigger than the cup, and scale it down in the X direction to create sort of a wall. Now I'm going to place it just before the cup. And let's sync it with the bullets. So I'm going to animate this object to move from A to B. This object will restore the dynamics of every shard. So just before the bullet hits, I want to restore the dynamics of the shards, so they have a little bit of time to prepare for the impact. So let's move it just a little bit in front of the bullet and insert a keyframe. In this case, I only want to insert a keyframe on the X location. And let's go to a frame where the bullet is past the teacup. And let's insert another single keyframe. And now the motion is a bit different, because again Blender makes this a smooth motion. So I want to go quickly back to animation and make this, press T, make this linear. Okay. So now it's synchronized with the bullet. Okay. To restore the dynamics, we have to add some more logic bricks to the shards. So select one shard and collapse these three. And let's add another sensor. And let's add a touch sensor. And this is really more like a real sensor, because it can sense when another material, another object with some specific material touches the object. So we have to give this object, which I will call the activator, we have to give it a specific material. So let's add a new material and let's call it activate material. Select the shard again and select the activate material. So now it can it gives a positive signal when any object with this material touches this shard. So what do we want to do when this object touches it? We want to edit the object and restore the dynamics. Okay, so let's link those two bricks. Apply all of these bricks to all the shards. Shift G, Object, Game, Copy Logic Bricks. And now every shard has these logic bricks. Then we need to add the animation for this object, because right now if we press P, nothing happens because this thing is not moving. So let's add an always sensor, just like I did with the bullet, and an action. and let's say the cube action. It's called cube action because when I created the animation, this object was called a cube. If you want to change this name, you can go to the nonlinear action editor over here. Select your object, add this panel on the right, and here you can rename the action. So activator action, and it renames over here as well. Okay, so now if I press P, this object moves, or at least it should if I have set up the start frame and end frame properly. So let's start at 1 and end at 100. I just want to match have the same start frame as the bullet, because then this motion will line up properly. So now press P and it works. Okay, the shards don't respond to this object, and that is because it is not set as an actor. If you check this, then the object can be detected by the touch sensor. So make it an actor. And I also found it doesn't work with a static object, so make it a rigid body. This will work, because a static object can't be sensed by a shard. So if it's a rigid body, it will collide with the shards, so make it a ghost, so it doesn't really collide with the shards. And then we can lock everything but the X translation, because it only moves in the X direction. And next thing, I want to set the collision bounds to box, because it's a box, and this will make the collision detection better than not setting it. Okay, I think we are ready. So now if we press P, we have a really nice effect where the shards only start simulating when this box touches them. So right before the bullet impact, the dynamics are restored, and they can react on gravity and on the bullet impact. So this is the proper way to do this kind of simulation, because all this time where the bullet, from the start of the bullet until here, these shards are not moving, which is the proper way, I think. And then finally they start moving. Okay, we can see one more problem, and that is these shards are floating somewhere in the air as if their dynamics is suspended again. And actually that is true, but it has nothing to do with the logic bricks. It's something in the world settings to speed up your gameplay, and that is to deactivate the physics of objects that are very slow moving for a specific period of time. And if you want to disable this feature, you can just set this time to 0, and that will disable this feature. So let's simulate once more. Go back to frame 0 and press P, and there we go. Yeah, they are not floating in the air somewhere, they are properly falling down. Okay, and if you think your objects are settled down, you can press escape to stop simulating. And we now have a really nice animation. A baked animation of our simulation. Okay, so go back to the default to have a better view of this thing. We can make this a wireframe. We can go back to cycles render to view the materials a bit better. And I think that concludes this tutorial. So there we have it, a slow motion fracture simulation in Blender. So that's it, guys. I hope you can learn something from this, and if you have questions, feel free to ask them below, and I will see you next time.